Out of Order Podcast, Episode 7.
Welcome to the Out of Order Podcast, your window into the firearms community, exploring those shaping the future of our rights and protecting our lifestyle, laws, legal cases, activism, and self-defense, in a candid and honest podcast for our brothers and sisters in arms. Here's your host, James Kalita.
Welcome to the 7th episode of the Out of Order Gun Rights Podcast. 7 episodes is a milestone for podcasts, so I'd like to thank you all for tuning in and listening. Today's sponsor is Liberty Classroom, where you get the history and economics they didn't teach you in high school. So head over to the show notes page. This week's show notes, or today's show notes page, is Out of Order James Kalita /Rosey, and head over there. You'll see the links for Liberty Classroom. You can also help out the show by becoming a donor on Patreon or by shopping through the Amazon links there at no additional cost to you. Rosey and I talk a lot about the history of gun control in New Jersey, how he helped start CNJFO, and what life is like in New Jersey under current gun control laws. And now, here's Rosey. David Rosenthal, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much, James. Pleasure being here.
Great. So, Rosey, you started or helped start CNJFO. Would you tell us a little bit about that organization?
About 5 years ago now, 5 of us got together, the founding members and trustees of the Coalition of New Jersey Firearm Owners, and they are Matt Andrus, our current president, myself as vice president, Jack Pyle, our treasurer, Jan Nepper, our computer maven, and Dan Gerdovich. And we got together and decided to form a 501c3 state and federally recognized nonprofit named the Coalition of New Jersey Firearm Owners. And we decided that we needed to get people together through a social atmosphere to try to get them into an advocate atmosphere, meaning it's easier to schmooze during a social event instead of just, calling a meeting and having nobody show up when you're trying to form something.
Sure.
Okay. So that worked out quite well, and now we have, quite a number of people. Of course, we could always use more. We've expanded into several different committees. We have volunteers in each of those committees with committee chairs and committee members in our most important committees. And there's, no one person can do it all. And the reason that we're so effective is because we have such a wonderful base of volunteers.
Great. And so what's, for the people outside the state, what's going on in New Jersey that you guys felt you needed to organize and start this group?
Well, the out-of-control laws that are being forced upon private gun owners, law-abiding citizens, turning them into instant felons at the stroke of a pen. This kind of thing has been going on, being bantered about since the Florio administration in the 90s, during the famous New Jersey assault weapons ban. Several years ago, we had people testify, along with Cheyenne Roberts and others, at the Charles Mainer's Committee for Law and Public Safety. He was an assemblyman back then, and it was his chairmanship of that committee, and they basically said, well, we're going to go ahead and vote the way we want to vote and get all these gun bills voted in, and then we'll go ahead and listen to y'all.
Right. I remember that day. That was very shocking.
Yeah, you were there that day.
Yep.
Matter of fact, that's the day you became out of order.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, it's I think it surprises the rest of the country that it can be that, I don't know if corrupt is the right word, but that corrupt here. They think that we.
Well, in some ways, New Jersey is the sphincter of the United States when it comes to gun law. If it stinks, it either started in New Jersey or New Jersey loves it.
That is an excellent analogy. Right. So, Rosey, have you been a firearms enthusiast your whole life, or?
Well, just about. I started with firearms 46 years ago at the age of 12. So I currently have 46 years behind the trigger, and I've seen it all. I've done it all, and I've seen what incrementalism has done and how it's affected law-abiding citizens, in specific New Jersey gun owners.
Sure. And how much of that time did you spend in New Jersey?
I've been a New Jersey resident my entire life, unfortunately.
Okay. So, living through all these incremental changes, a lot of times when we talk to people who are in favor of gun control laws, they say they just want reasonable restrictions, or they just want this one law. Have they been saying that over and over again for 30, 46 years?
Yes, ever since I've been a gun owner myself, which is now 40 years, I've heard the same tune from the same type of people. The names may have changed, and now it's Moms Demand Action, for common gun sense or whatever. Back in my heyday, when I first started, it was Handgun Control Incorporated.
Right, and they changed to the Brady campaign, which I think it's somehow connected to Moms Demand Action, right?
Well, if you follow the money, they're all sort of interconnected with Bloomberg and Soros.
Right. All right.
So they can morph, and, one corporation can own another corporation, and you wind up with shell companies or whatever, and all the lawyers figure it out, and it's all legal. But, ugliness can rear its head, by any name, and it's been going on since I was a high school senior in 1977 and bought my first Smith & Wesson revolver with my high school graduation money as a straw purchase at age 18, right across the counter at the FFL 40 years ago.
Right.
That's before the term straw purchase was invented.
Yeah, so who are you buying that for?
Oh, I was buying it for me. My father was buying it for me, but he had to buy it from the FFL storefront because he was over 21 years of age. And 40 years ago, when I bought my first handgun, I could buy a used handgun across a kitchen table or out of somebody's garage or basement completely legally at the age of 18.
Yeah, and so a lot has changed, and I've had a couple of people tell me that when they went to high school, they could bring their shotgun to school with them for hunting season. They just had to leave it in the locker or leave it in the classroom. Was that your experience too?
Well, in 1977, when I was a senior in high school, it was openly known that there were shotguns unloaded, laying in the trunks of sedans parked outside in the parking lot.
Wow.
During hunting season.
Yeah.
And nobody cared.
Right, and there was never a sense that it was threatening to do that.
No, not at all.
So, in the 46 years, was there a specific turning point, or has it been gradual? Yeah.
It's been very gradual and very incremental, and it's always coming from the left. Okay, their mantra is, "Let's meet in the middle." The problem is that I've witnessed 46 years of compromising where we meet in the middle, and that always means that we have to give up gun rights so that everybody else feels good.
Right. Yeah.
It's never what do they have to give up in order to make a true compromise. They've bastardized the word compromise to mean, what are we going to give up on our side of the equation so that they can gain more ground?
Right. Yes. Yeah, they have, and it's been just in the 20 or so years that I've been paying attention. I've seen it, and I don't know if it's new people coming in on the left that don't realize we've had this conversation before, or if they just like pretending that that we haven't had this conversation before and that we already haven't split the difference.
I think it's an entire new generation of people that have been trained basically to go at this tooth and nail. I think it's indoctrination.
Yeah, it really is, especially when you think of, just starting out in the schools where, even I graduated high school in 1994, and it was in my student handbook that if you brought a gun to school, you couldn't leave it in your car and you couldn't bring it to class, but you had to bring it to the office. So it's just that gradual where, you knew you had them in the car. When I was in high school, we had to keep them in the office, to now, if you even bring it on grounds, they'll suspend you. And we've had some instances in Jersey, I know you were speaking about them, where students were shooting off school grounds, not on a school day, and were suspended for that.
Yeah, that was the Lacey Township incident that I had the pleasure of actually breaking that news story through one of our reporters on the scene.
Oh, wow.
And that actually reached 2.3 million people on Facebook, and it went as far as POTUS's first family. His son Eric actually got a tweet about it from our communications director, Teresa Einecker.
Wow. And so what was the eventual outcome there? I remember the school denying it. Did the students get related to their classes? Or?
They had 3 sets of rules. Okay? They had a set that was published in paper edition that the kids had to sign. And, of course, anybody under 18 that signs anything, it doesn't amount to a hill of beans anyway.
Right.
Okay? Then they had an online edition, which basically contradicted or added more fuel to the fire and basically said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that no activity with firearms is allowed on or off school property. Yes. And that's when the Board of Education got involved and Dan Schmutter got involved with the Association of New Jersey Rifle and Pistol Clubs after our treasurer, Jack Pyle, emailed the information that I was able to ascertain, from our reporter in the field. And then we all got a hold of Scott Bach, our NRA person, and also, executive director of the ANJRPC, and he directed Dan to write a cease and desist to the school board and the supervisory personnel, vice principals, principals, etc., at Lacey High School. And truth be told, the Lacey Facebook page blew up, and they shut it off, and it spilled over into another page, and that's how we found out about it through our reporter. And, the rest, as they say, is history. Right now, Lacey is still undergoing a process that Dan has to monitor to make sure that students that have stickers on their cars, pickup trucks, and any other vehicle don't wind up with an in-school suspension because of a sticker that, is sitting on somebody's back windshield, and it happens to have an evil black rifle or Molon Labe or, anything else having the gun-related on it.
Right. It's frightening that they get away with that, and then to think that if you get conditioned that that's normal through high school, then when you get to work or you get to wherever whatever you do next in life, you're going to expect it to be that way there too, and that's
exactly. And if guns are treated like it's an evil sin, okay, see. I sincerely believe that guns are the next tobacco. And they're being attacked in the same manner.
Yeah, like the old Attorney General said. We need to brainwash people to think about them in a different way. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And the easiest way to do that is to restrict the flow of guns into the next generation.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. If you change young minds and they're not exposed to having, fun with sporting arms or going hunting or learning self-defense or, learning should we use the term shooting discipline or shooting game?
Right.
That involves any of the three common platforms of rifle, pistol, or scattergun, all right? Should all of these things not happen, then it becomes, it falls out of the mainstream. And then only people that have done it and passed it along from generation to generation can truly appreciate what they're missing.
Right. And kind of like with hunting, and I know the Second Amendment isn't about hunting, but that's another segment where we've seen, at least in New Jersey, that tradition really shrink.
Well, I believe that hunting in the Second Amendment is connected at the hip.
Okay.
Okay? They are connected. And no, it's not in writing. And no, it's not, they're not physically connected. They're emotionally connected. And by that I mean, I'm a big picture kind of guy. And although I know that the Second Amendment is not about going out and hunting pheasants or deer, the fact that it's under attack and it's being made unpopular limits the exposure that the next generation has to be able to enjoy sporting firearms for their intended purpose. Kids today are being trained that guns are evil.
Yes. Yeah, that's very true. And
kids today are being taught by textbooks that are so whacked out and so far from the truth that they've morphed what the Second Amendment truly means into whatever they feel like writing down.
Yeah, and I've seen some examples of that. So you've had a lot of success with CNJFO. What do you attribute that to? How were you able to grow that group?
Well, we were able to grow it a number of different ways. We're very active on our Facebook page. We send out an occasional email, newsletter, etc. We've done it with organized shoots and hunting events where we bring the solid, don't take my guns away, you're going to unwrap my cold dead fingers right winger, from around my gun. And we've taken shotgun FUDs and everybody in between. And we've put them all together into an event where they all get to spend time with each other and learn how the other thinks. and then everybody walks away with an education.
Excellent.
So that the ultra-right-winger understands a little bit about what the FUD's thinking, and the FUD is understanding, hey, maybe I better start worrying about all these guys with these evil black rifles, because if they take those away and they get rid of the handguns and one thing or the other, then all that's left is me and my shotgun, and if they want that, then there's nobody to stand up for me.
Right, yeah, because they'll ban the black rifles first, and it'll be harder to hold the government off with the skeet gun. So,
well, that's the ultimate fascism and example of incrementalism.
Yeah.
And especially, New Jersey gun owners have to wake up to the fact that we're all in this together, and we all need to communicate, and we all need to get on the same page.
Absolutely.
And we had a really nice rally a couple of months ago. We participated in it. Teresa gave a wonderful speech, and it was all about, how, she has the right to do whatever she wants to do, and if that means she wants to own an AR-15 like she does, then God bless her, and that's her choice.
Right. Yep.
I tell people that my AR-15 hasn't killed anybody that I know of.
Right. Yeah, unless it's sneaking out at night. Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't crawl through a window. It doesn't go off half-cocked. I can stand it up, in the corner in my kitchen after I clean and oil it, and it doesn't do anything. It just sits there.
Right.
Okay? I wish I could charge it rent.
Yes. Yep.
Help pay for some of the confiscatory real estate tax that I have to worry about every quarter in New Jersey.
Yeah.
But, seriously, though, one of our secrets is getting people together. And it's not really a secret, because people like to BS.
Mm-hmm.
You get enough people together and, they're of the like mind, they're going to start communicating, they're going to start schmoozing, and the social outlet, we've exploited that with our hog hunt, with our pheasant hunts, with our sporting clays, which, by the way, shameless plug, we have another sporting clay event coming up on Wednesday, July 25th.
Oh, excellent. All right. I will include a registration to that on the show notes page.
And, getting folks together, getting them talking, providing sponsors an opportunity, to talk with people. Everybody just loves it. It's a win-win, and it's really what contributed mostly to helping us, build the organization that we currently enjoy. We could use a few thousand more members.
Right. And so what's the best way for people to find you and help you guys out?
Well, CNJFO.com, on the web, and from there you can click around, you can join, you can make a straight donation, you can purchase apparel, you can sign up for an event like our Sporting Clays event, okay? A couple of clicks is all it takes,
Okay.
and you're right where you want to be. We're even running a matching funds fundraiser for the State NRA Association.
Oh, okay.
On the same website, there's a drop-down. If you go to the donate page, and you hit the drop-down for the ANJRPC fundraiser. And CNJFO is matching up to $2,500 in total donations. So we're looking forward to the day that we can cut the foundation or whomever the executive board deems that we make the check payable to,
Sure.
so that they can, fight these onerous, outrageous laws that are coming down the pike as early as Thursday.
Yeah, and so for, because we've talked on this show about, New Jersey's facing a even stricter assault weapons ban and a magazine capacity limit and a whole host of other laws. For people outside of New Jersey, what kind of advice would you give them to keep this from incrementally eating away at their rights in their state?
Well, in terms of the wider audience that's outside of the state of New Jersey, I would say beware. Pay attention to what's going on, because things get snuck in. Okay? Governor Cuomo snuck in the SAFE Act in the middle of the night, signing it into law for the state of New York. In so doing, he made every law enforcement official that carries a sidearm an instant felon.
Yeah, they had to accidentally undo that one the next day, didn't they?
Yeah, because it turns out that police agencies like to carry more than 8 rounds in a magazine.
Yep.
Perish the thought.
Right. So, speaking of sneaking things in, what do you remember from your time in New Jersey that people weren't expecting to happen, or do you remember, or have you heard about what was going on when they passed the Firearms ID Act?
Well, I was a little young for that. That goes all the way back into the 60s.
Yeah.
Okay. But I just had lunch today with friends of mine that used to get handguns mailed to them through the post office.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. One generation removed from mine.
Right.
Guys that are in their mid to late 70s that, collect firearms. You could buy a Colt, a 38, or a Smith & Wesson 22, or whatever you wanted, a Ruger Mark I or Mark II, whatever it was at the time, right through a catalog.
Yeah, because
Okay, send them a check, or you could have the whole thing COD'd.
Wow.
And you paid the postman in person, and he handed you a parcel that contained an unloaded firearm, brand new from the factory.
Yep.
And we didn't have the problems that we have today.
Right.
Sure, there was an occasional problem, all right, but not like there is today. All right. Today, it's all about how many people we can get for an audience. And I think that plays into it.
Yeah. And do you mean in the reporting of what happens, or in the or that's the motive for the person committing the crime?
Both.
Okay.
I think that they're interconnected.
Yeah, I think, especially after that last video came out, of the student, I don't remember which state he was in, but where he was bragging about it, that he was going to be the next school shooter. It was apparent that that's what he was after, the media attention.
Oh, yeah. I when I get interviewed, I don't even discuss the names of the perpetrators.
Right. Yep.
Okay? I just call them perp or scumbag. That's all I call them.
Right.
I don't give them, official street cred, by naming their name.
Right. Yeah.
I think that, that just feeds, the whole vicious cycle.
Right. Especially since we tend to remember the names of the offenders for much longer than we remember the names of the victims. And it really should be the other way around. So, Rosey, I've been asking all of my guests, and I keep saying that I'm going to remember to tell people beforehand, but are there any books that you would recommend gun owners should read?
Say that again, James?
Any books that you would recommend gun owners should read?
Any particular outlet that they should read?
Like books. Like they get at the library or order off Amazon.
Oh, okay. Well, there's books and magazines available that will teach you how to be a better shooter. But the most important thing, I think, in terms of the Second Amendment aspect of it, is knowing how to use lethal force should it be necessary. All right? And for that, I recommend actually visiting or looking up a gentleman by the name of Mike Wolf, who's one of our sponsors.
Okay.
Okay? And he'll be able to help in that particular area. However, in general, the works of the old masters, the folks that didn't have 15 and 20 round magazines and they still had to perform police duty, all right? No Second Place Winner.
Right.
By Bill Jordan.
Oh, okay. That's the title of the book. Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. It's gunfighting mindset.
Okay.
There's no Second Place Winner in a gunfight.
Excellent. Very good. Well, I will put links to both of those on the show notes page. And Rosey, I thank you so much for being on the show.
All right. And, keep in mind that, to my knowledge, there hasn't been a Barrett 82A1 50 caliber BMG that's been used in a bank heist lately.
Right. And no drive-by bayonetings. Right.
No drive-by bayonettings. They're deliberately back and forth with this 50 caliber thing. They finally wised up, and now they're leaving my black powder muskets alone simply because it's got to be X number of foot-pounds of energy, blah, 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 blah. So they finally figured that out. But really, we have to ban a 50 caliber, gun that by the time you get done putting a scope on it, you're in 5 figures.
Right. Yeah.
So we got to tell doctors and lawyers and people that have, a decent amount of dollar to spend on disposable income, we got to tell them that, they can't enjoy long-range shooting. Right. A lot of people don't know there's clubs in South Jersey that go out between 600 and 1,000 yards.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cumberland Rifleman, I think, has a 600-yard range. And in Pennsylvania, there's at least 1,000-yard range that's within a 3 or a 4 hour ride.
Right. Yeah, I've heard of that one. I can't think of the name just now, but yeah, I've heard of that one. I didn't know we had one that far out in New Jersey, so that's great. Great. Well, I thank you again and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Well, James, I thank you for your work on the second and all the good you do, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Coalition of New Jersey Firearm Owners. I'm proud to be their vice president, and I'm proud to be your friend.
Thank you. Thanks again for listening to the Out of Order Gun Rights Podcast, Episode 7 with David Rosenthal, also known as Rosey. Please head over to the show notes page, outoforderjameskalita.com/Rosey, and you'll see links to our sponsors, the books Rosey mentioned, and to his organization, so you can check them out, CNJFO, and we'll see you next time.